What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
You want healthy children. Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
President-elect Donald Trump is the first president to win non-consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland, and we haven't heard from him extensively since his decisive victory until now. I sat down with the president-elect at Trump Tower in New York on Friday for his first broadcast interview since winning the election. He told me his first 100 days will focus on bringing down prices, addressing the border, and getting his cabinet picks confirmed. And I asked him what he'll do on his first day in office. I understand that on day one, you're going to be signing a flurry of executive orders. Can you give me just what are the top ones people should know about?
A lot of it will have to do with economics. A lot's going to have to do with energy. A lot's going to do with having to do with the border. We're going to immediately strengthen up the border and do a real job. And some of the basics.
I began the interview with one of the top issues for voters, the economy and the cost of living. I want to delve into one of your signature promises on the campaign trail, which was to end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
Okay, happy Sunday to everybody. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. You know, I like to always wait and see what the landscape is like and see what people have to say about different things. And I watched this interview, and I watched the cuts of this interview, and I watched as people talked about it. And it was probably one of the worst interviews for Meet the Press that I've ever seen. You see, they postured themselves as though they were going to catch him off guard, him being President Trump. Obviously, Trump's way smarter than the woman Kristen Welker who was interviewing him, and he also wasn't going to get caught by surprise because we know, any of us who have followed Trump, we know what they think. He knows what they think. They don't like anything about him. Many of us wondered before this interview happened, why would he even do this interview? And after watching it, I'm convinced I know why he did this interview with NBC and Meet the Press. That reason that revealed itself to me was pretty simple. I feel he was letting the world know nothing can stop what is coming. I know that sounds very simple. I've said that many times. I even said it yesterday when I watched what happened in France, but it became really obvious to me. It was almost like he looked in this woman's face and said, I don't care what you think. I don't care what any of you people in the media think. I'm over worrying about what you think. And it just exuded this guy and his facial expressions and his answers. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is why I'm going to do it. And I don't really care. Don't give a crap who likes it or who doesn't like it. I think it's going to be best for the country. I feel it's going to be best for the country. But like Pete Hegseth said a couple days ago last week, I don't answer to you. I don't have to prove anything to you. I got to prove it to the American people. That's my audience. You're small potatoes. You mean absolutely nothing. And I think at that point, people at NBC and CBS and all the rest might want to realize he's suffering no fools. This is a whole different game this time. He understands, just like most people who've got some sort of a brain, that you people, when I'm pointing at the camera here, I'm talking about the media, you're irrelevant. You see, we couldn't understand why he was going and doing this interview because we're like, yeah, they're irrelevant. Nobody's watching them. Nobody cares what they think. I think he needed to tell them. I think he needed to look at Kristen Welker with her big giant eyes and let her know, hey, honey, I don't care what you think. So I'm going to do my first interview with you, which might be my last interview with you people. And we're just going to do what we have set out to do, what I was elected to do, what this tens of millions of people who have said, do what you got to do. So I don't need to basically worry about what you people think. And I think that message came across loud and clear at Notre Dame. Now understand the timing here. We got to go back. Future proofs past. She filmed this, as she said, at Trump Tower Friday before he went to France. So he knew this was going to be aired today. So everything you saw yesterday in France was with his mind knowing, I'm going to make this show today. I'm going to let the world know I'm in charge. And then you're going to see why I feel so strong, why I'm slamming the handshake. And you're going to see it tomorrow. I don't care. You're going to watch me basically look at the media in America and say, you're done. You're absolutely done. Now, before I go into it, I do got to make one public service announcement. I said I would continue to do this for a couple days. I've had brought to my attention from SV, one of the moderators, that someone has been going into the comments and they've been spamming in the comments on Rumble and making stupid statements and telling people to click this link and do this and do the other thing. And we've since bounced him, but they don't go away that easy. They come back. They continue to come back. So don't be surprised if another one shows up today or tomorrow or sometime during this week. I will never ask you to click a link. Never. I will never put a link in the comments. You'll see some of the mods here who will say, hey, listen, if you want to join our X group, go ahead and click over there. It's an X link. Nothing to do with Telegram. Don't click on it. Don't even think about clicking on it. And whatever you do, don't send your email to that guy's email address. If you send that email to that email address, it's likely they're going to basically, take everything they can off your computer, all your data. So be very, very, very careful. Ignore comments that even if you think it's me, ask somebody else, hey, is that Barry? Is Barry really doing something on Telegram? Because I'm not really sure. I don't trust it. Don't trust any of that stuff. That being said, let's get back to the interview.
To win non-consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland. And we haven't heard from him extensively since his decisive victory until now. I sat down with the president-elect at Trump Tower in New York on Friday for his first broadcast interview since winning the election.
It jumped backwards. Let me go ahead and get that to the point where we were, and so you guys can catch up. Here, okay, here we go.
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow, but I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation. In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much. So I think I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state.
That's a man. That's a leader speaking right there. What are we giving you all this money for? What are you giving us? You're giving us nothing but heartache. That's it. And if you want this kind of money, maybe we should just annex your country. If you need, it's like child support. You are our children at this point. If you need that much money, if you can't stand on your own 2 feet, I've never understood all this stuff about sending money all over the world that it has to come from us. I understand a country that may go through a natural disaster. Oh my God, they got wiped out in a tidal wave. Let's help. Let's donate to them. Let's help them get back on their feet. But subsidizing countries that are already, up and running, where there's no natural disaster, what the hell are we giving you money for? Just for the privilege of taking it from taxpayers? It's interesting. She had no comment about that. It goes to the ideology of people on the left. Yes, we should be doling out American dollars all over the world. Why? What is that in the Constitution, that we are the world's piggy bank? Why? The other part of that is, right then and there, if he wanted to, he had her. He completely had her. She was repeating something she was reading about tariffs. Notice what she said. Many of the world-renowned economists have said, I don't care what they have to say. He completely cut her legs out from underneath her. I don't care what they have to say. They work. Now, if you were a good interviewer and you were going up against somebody who felt that confident, you would have to be able to, confront him. Well, I believe, based on, she can't. She's reading a script. Somebody said, ask him, tell him that the other people say it's no good. And he just went, hey, I like them. I'm going to do them. They work very well. You got anything for me? Oh, on to the next question. She's got nothing. That is pretty much shutting somebody's argument down. You have to understand, if you're talking to somebody, especially somebody who probably knows more than you, often it happens when I talk to my wife, she'll know more than I, but I'm serious. If Robin's in the kitchen cooking, and I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't know if that's the right thing to do. And I'll just get the look. Husbands, the look. The look is, you're right. I have no idea what you're doing. I'm a step off. I can't even enter that conversation. If I don't know what she's doing in the kitchen, all I know is afterwards when I taste it, I'm like, okay, well, it's good. So I'm good with it. That's what I mean. If you can't have a conversation with somebody, you can't pass judgment on it. You're saying other people said this. And I hope you guys understand. This is me breaking it down, like I said, because I want you to be able to break it down. There are people sometimes in the chat who have different opinions about tariffs. Fine. He's going to do it. You're going to have to convince people, even here in the chat, why he shouldn't do it. And the argument that they always make, every single time, is one argument. It's going to raise prices in America if you buy that stuff. What about all the other stuff in the store? What about the other 30 aisles? There's stuff everywhere. Just don't buy that. And if you said that to her, she probably wouldn't be able to respond.
We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs...
Now listen here. She couldn't respond, so she has to go right to the next question she has written up. Let's see what she asks him.
During your first administration, cost Americans some $80 billion, and now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with wars and having to do with other things, tariffs, I have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%. And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman. I say properly used. But it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money. And we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part. And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Are you actually...
See, notice she couldn't come back with it. Oh, these people, at Black & Decker and Walmart and Target say, they're going to have to pass the cost onto the consumer. Now, I just want you to know, and I've had this discussion with Robin many times, and I'm sure many of you have had these discussions with your wife. When she will go to the store and say, hey, listen, I was going to buy this thing, and it was like $30. But you know what? Instead, I bought this thing, and it was $25. I saved us $5. No, you didn't. You see, that's where these people who don't understand tariffs are, is if this costs $30 and you chose not to buy this thing for $30, then you would have saved $30. But if you choose to buy another thing that costs $25, you save $5. It's simple math. Wives don't do math that way, but that's the math. I.e., if you go look at the Black & Decker drill, wow, there's a tariff. I guess you're going to assume which things have tariffs on them, but you're like, this one is $200. It doesn't cost you anything. You understand that? I just want people who don't understand tariffs and bitch about them all the time to understand. It doesn't cost you anything because no one anywhere is forcing you to buy it. It could be $600 and it doesn't cost me a dime. I ain't buying it. So you can pass on whatever thing you want to make and charge more. Doesn't mean as a consumer I have to buy it, which then, because I'm not purchasing it, that other country doesn't like what's happening because the product's too expensive. I just bought as you know yesterday, I just bought my GoPro for my drive around videos that I'm hoping to start Monday or Tuesday, tomorrow or Tuesday, and the GoPro was on sale because it's Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. And the guy goes, you want the 11, the 12, the 13? I'm like, well, what's the difference? I chose the 13, but guess what? You have to focus on the word I just said. I chose. It was my choice. There is no additional cost to you because nobody's forcing you to buy anything. That's the big thing that people don't understand with tariffs. And obviously she's not capable of having that conversation. It is a media-led BS argument where they're saying it's going to be passed on to the consumer. No, it's going to be passed on to the cost, the price of the product that you have the option to buy or not buy. You understand that? Just like when you're looking for an airplane ticket and you look on Expedia, you look on Delta, or you look on Kayak, and you choose where you're going to purchase based upon the price. It's exactly the same thing. So if this one's too expensive, then you just don't buy it. Understand that. Please understand that.
They impose these tariffs, or are they a negotiating tactic?
Well, I'll give you an example. With Canada, and in particular Mexico, we have millions of people pouring into our country. You agree with that. I spoke with both. I spoke with Justin Trudeau. In fact, he flew to Mar-a-Lago within about 15 seconds after the call ended. Yeah. He was at Mar-a-Lago. We were having dinner talking about it. I said, you have to close up your borders because they're coming in the northern border too a lot. Not like the southern border, but they're coming in the Canadian border a lot. And drugs are pouring in. Almost as importantly, drugs are pouring in, maybe more importantly, drugs are pouring in at levels never seen before, 10 times what we had. They're just pouring in. We can't have open borders. And I said to the president of Mexico and to Justin Trudeau, if it doesn't stop, I'm going to put tariffs on your country at about 25%.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve.
You see that? The man just gave a substantive answer. Hey, listen, if you don't stop this flow of fentanyl and newcomers coming through our country, I'm going to hit you with a 25% tariff. Okay, my next question. Like, you're not giving an interview. The media postures themselves as though they're giving out interviews. It's not an interview. You're reading and just hoping he answers. An interview means you actually ask questions. Then you ask follow-up questions. She's got nothing for him, and he's just obliterating her just by talking. It's embarrassing.
Jerome Powell said he will not leave his post even if you ask him to. Will you try to replace Jerome Powell?
No, I don't think so. I don't see it, but I think if I told him to, he would. But if I asked him to, he probably wouldn't. But if I told him to, he would.
You don't have plans to do that right now?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's talk about mass deportation, one of your big agenda items.
I'm sorry to stop it so much, but it just drives me crazy. You don't have plans to do that right now? No. Next question out of my mouth, if I was interviewing him, would have been very simple. You know, President Trump, why not? You see, I would want to get to the point of, hey, listen, are you going to fire him? No. Why not? Is there a reason you want to keep this guy? But she's not. She just, I got to get all these questions through, which ruins a supposed interview, which also lets you, as an outside person watching it, realize Trump's in total control here.
You've talked about prioritizing people who have criminal histories.
Correct.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you...
Okay, so the answer to this question, with her giant eyes, for some reason it's always the eyes, with her giant eyes, how can I say this? The answer he's about to give her here, you're going to really deport all these people? Bam. She's got nothing to come back with. Watch.
Have to do it, and it's a very tough thing to do. It's but you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country. They can't come out of prisons. We don't want people that are in for murder. So we had 11,000 and 13,000 different estimates, 13,099 murderers released into our country over the last 3 years. They're walking down the streets. They're walking next to you and your family, and they're very dangerous.
The 13,000 figure, I think, goes back about 40 years.
No, it doesn't. No,
That
it's within the 3-year period.
figure.
It's during the Biden term. No, that was a fiction that they put that out. This was done by the Border Patrol.
You see that? She tried to step in, bam, immediately got slapped down. And because it wasn't on her cheat sheet there, she couldn't even respond. She is completely not knowledgeable about the subjects she is speaking of.
It's 13,099, and it's during the Biden period of time. And these are murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. You don't want those people in this country.
But you're saying something.
He put something to her. You don't want these people in this country. Basically, you had a question mark. Do you? Because that's the question you throw back at an interviewer. All these people who are newcomers are doing, you don't want them here, do you? Because you want to elicit a response for them because they can't possibly believe the crap that they're talking. You as a person, I know you work for NBC, but you are a female walking around New York City. You want these people here? Okay, so the next question, the dude is a genius.
Or that's significance. I just want to make sure I'm clear, which is that you're saying, yes, you're going to focus on the people with criminal histories, but everyone who's here illegally has to go.
I'm saying this. We have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to get people that were taken out of mental institutions and put them back into their mental institution, no matter what country it is. Do you know that Venezuela, their prisons are at the lowest point in terms of emptiness that they've ever been? They're taking their people out of those prisons by the thousands, and they're drunk. And just to get back, because I know exactly what you're getting at. Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They just are. They're in the real estate business.
The local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's...
She has no knowledge. The local police say it's not happening. The local police, there's video of it actually happening. You do understand that, Kristen. This isn't something made up. We understand that the local police are trying their best to make believe like it's not happening when there's people who actually live in these buildings who have said so. Have you not talked to these people? Why do you believe everything you're being told by somebody else? So what you're saying here is the local police have told you X, Y, and Z, and I, as the president-elect, you don't believe me, though. You believe them. So why don't you go move there?
Totally the case. I mean,
you don't believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play it at my rallies every single night. No, they're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
and by the way,
the point,
the police are afraid to do anything.
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said
Sure
it yourself.
but everything's complicated.
Yeah, you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport everyone who's here illegally?
You have no choice. First of all, they're costing us a fortune. But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals. We have convicted murders. We don't mean people that are even on trial. We have people that have murdered numerous people are on our streets and in our farms. And we have to...
See, one of the questions I have, do liberals really think it's okay? I mean, are they that virtue signaling to each other that when their own friends get carjacked or robbed or worse, are they really okay with all that? You see, it makes no sense whatsoever, because I'm pretty sure when Kristen Welker leaves the NBC studio, she hops into a limo. That limo then takes her to her apartment with the guy out front, the doorman, who walks her in, and she's completely safe the whole way through. Probably has bodyguards. These people don't have any empathy for the common person. That's why they live in these studios in Washington and New York and don't seem to understand what regular people go through.
Them out of our country.
What about dreamers, sir? Dreamers who were brought to this country illegally as children. You said once back in 2017, they, quote, shouldn't be very worried about being deported. Should they be worried now?
The dreamers are going to come later, and we have to do something about the dreamers, because these are people that have been brought here at a very young age, and many of these are middle-aged people now. They don't even speak the language of their country, and yes, we're going to do something about the dreamers.
What does that mean?
And
what are you going to do?
I will work with the Democrats on a plan, and if we can come up with a plan, but the Democrats have made it very, very difficult to do anything. Republicans are very open to the dreamers. The dreamers, we're talking many years ago, they were brought into this country, many years ago. Some of them are no longer young people, and in many cases, they become successful. They have great jobs. In some cases, they have small businesses. Some cases, they might have large businesses. And we're going to have to do something with them. And
you want them to be able to stay. That's what you're saying.
I do.
Okay.
I want to be able to work something out. And it should have been able to be worked out over the last 3 or 4 years. And it never got worked out. You know, Biden could have done it because he controlled.
I want to ask you, the dreamers, people who have been here 15, 20 years, who aren't a part of this newcomer invasion, I'd like to see in the comments what you guys think about them. People who have obviously gone to college, have jobs, have been paying taxes, have been pretty much, productive members of society. And I'm sure there has to be an asterisk. You can't be a criminal. You can't be in jail. You can't have convicted crimes. But if you're a dreamer and you've been, doing the best you can to assimilate into America and American society, what do you guys feel about that? You see, that's something that they should put to the public, the Americans. We should be able to say, yeah, okay, here's our plan, whatever that plan may be. Because I personally know some people who at this point have been working through the system. They haven't gotten their citizenship yet, but they've been trying and they've been doing everything, and they own businesses and they're trying to get things done. And I just think to myself sometimes, they're not a part of this invasion. They've been here for 20 years. So I'd love to know what some of you guys think, and I'll take some comments in a second, because I want to know.
Congress, to a certain extent, right? He could have done something, but they didn't do it. I never understood why, because they always seem to want to do it, but then when it comes down to it, they don't. I think we can work with the Democrats and work something out.
Let me ask you about another group of people, the estimated 4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking.
Okay, now this is chilling. She's not prepared for this answer. Pretty much same thing Tom Homan said.
About parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders are.
You're talking about separation.
Yeah, well, there are two aspects to this. Your borders are, Tom Homan said, they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep I don't want to be breaking up families, so the only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together, and you have to send them all back.
Ooh. So he echoed what Tom Homan said, and she had no comeback to that. He said, sorry, you don't want to break them up. All you got to go. Every single one of you. We're not going to break up your family. Y'all get on the bus. Let's hear how she answers this.
Kids who are here legally?
Well, what you're going to do if they want to stay with the father? Look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a wonderful young woman who's with a criminal, and they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country, and then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job, and you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws, and in the end, look, our country is a mess.
Let me ask you about some of your...
How could you hear that answer and not want to follow that up? The man looked you in the face and said, them's the breaks. If you don't want it, you got one or the other. Either we break them up or they all go. That's it. That's the entirety of the choice. You don't just get to stay because, we don't want to break you up. Maybe hey, what do you want to do? You want to go or you want everybody to go? And she didn't even follow it up. It's absolutely stunning to me how this stuff happens, and these people don't seem to have any clue in terms of how to answer that question. That, to me, that's their loss. To me, that's where things go a little bit off the rails for me, because I can't deal with the insanity of people who don't want to engage in a conversation. Like I asked you specifically, let me know what you think about the so-called dreamers. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, as you guys know, I've been also basically going live on Rumble and on X at the same time. And Rumble being new to the content creation network, according to, and basically against the guys here at YouTube, they need help. And when Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have any biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on, COVID. But the other guys did. They did. Facebook admitted that they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble didn't. They held the line. They are still attacked daily for giving us all a voice to talk here. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. And I want to see the brands work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive without brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join a community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. And like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, I'm just as happy that you continue to watch us on Rumble. If you're looking for a great place online, I kind of went too far in that one. In any event, thank you, Rumble, for giving me the opportunity to speak to people on an ongoing basis. All right, so let me take your comments in terms of what you guys have been saying all about the dreamers, because I want to talk to you and find out what you think about these dreamers. So let's go. Be here, do it legally or leave. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see people saying do it legally or leave. Absolutely. Did your comment not come up? Let me see here. Newcomers, okay, wait. Newcomer parents don't give birth to legal citizens. They're going to talk about that as well. If the dreamers want to stay, then they need to learn English and fully assimilate. I gotcha. Everyone is a dreamer. Interesting. Dreamers go back to their country and dream. Whew. That's kind of harsh, Carol. Okay, but that's how people feel. We the people voted for mass deportations. This is what I believe. Celtic Fiddle says here, the dreamers should be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. I'm down with that. Jay Miguel, let the dreamers stay. Absolutely. return everyone born after the 1920s. Ouch. 76 million people said bye-bye. Kind of hard not to understand. That is his mandate. 76 million people said mass deportations. A country without borders isn't a country. I believe that. Elon Musk became a citizen. Yes, he did. Legal immigration is the only solution. Let's see here. Many of them are coming here with a parasitic mind. You guys have strong opinions. Eric Bruce says case by case exactly. I believe if dreamers have been here for a number of years and not been in any trouble and a productive citizen in our country, they should be reviewed. See, that's kind of how I think about it. I think if you've been here for a certain amount of time, if you can prove you've assimilated, paid taxes, understand or trying to understand our Constitution, and I don't know the era in terms of when did the dreamers start and when did it, there's got to be some delineation in terms of, what's that number? How long have you had to been here? Now, what happens if you've been here 15 years and you still don't have a job and you've been on wealth? You got to go. I can't pay for you. Your first criteria is you have to be self-sustaining. You have to be self-sustaining. You cannot be on the dole of the government and stay here. That's just how I feel. All right, let's continue.
The promises on this topic. You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has.
I think she just lied there. I want to pull this up. I should have had it ready. She just says anybody who lives here or is born here is automatically considered a citizen. I don't believe, let's see, I want to pull it up so you guys can read it because I've heard some people talk about this. Let's look at this. This is section 1. Let me see if I can blow it up so you guys can see it, because there's some interpretation being done out there that kind of lends us to think that might not be the case. All right. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Stop right there. Let me blow that up, because she didn't say that. And that's where a lot of liberals kind of obfuscate and talk a lot of crap. Let me just show you that. Okay, let me pull it up in itself so you guys can see it. Okay, all right. Hold on. I want you to really see this very well. I want you to be armed with this information, because I believe... What the heck did I do here? Okay, here we go. Here it is. 14th Amendment. She jumped completely over that. What she said, and what a lot of liberals say, is anyone born here is considered, a citizen. That's not what it says. Not what it says at all. I may be the only person showing this to you. All right. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and then there's a little qualification here, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state where they reside. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That she didn't say. None of them ever say that. Understand, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning you are subject to the laws of the United States. All persons born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. What that means is your parents aren't. Your parents, and this is an interpretation that's going to get challenged legally. You're from Mexico, and your mom's from Mexico, and your dad's from Honduras. You're born here, doesn't necessarily convey automatic citizenship upon you, the child, and definitely doesn't convey citizenship on your parents. You have to be subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That one clause in the 14th Amendment is going to cause hell over the next couple of years. You watch what happens, because one of the things that Trump is going to try and get rid of is birthright citizenship. He is going to start that fight on day one. I can't say the term of what they're called, but you know it has to do with a ship's anchor, but you know what I'm talking about. And so they've been doing all kinds of research, because so many people for so long have just said, hey, I was born here, so I'm automatically a citizen. And you skip that one qualifying statement. And now that's where you're going to have hell to pay. I can't give an opinion. I can read it. You can read it. But this is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, no doubt. So-called you-know-what babies are going to be challenged. And Trump is going to challenge that on day one. And so depending upon where you fall on that, and a lot of people have different opinions. A lot of people say, hey, if you're born here, you're a citizen. Says who? You see, that's always been an interpretation. That's what Trump is saying. That's what Tom Homan is saying. And it's terrifying people, especially on the left, because nobody, for whatever reason, has ever qualified or challenged that statement. And now Trump's coming in, 78 million votes strong, and he's like, we're going to challenge that. We're going to make SCOTUS determine this, because now, just so you know, that's a constitutional statement. And there's only one court that's going to have the ultimate decision on that, and that's going to be the Supreme Court. So he is going to put that out there and have the Supreme Court decide who gets to stay and who doesn't based upon birthright citizenship. That's a big one. That is a huge one that none of them saw coming. And that's going to be a fight you're going to hear about in the coming months, because people have always assumed. I mean, I never knew there was any doubt. The way she said it, hey, the Constitution says if you're born here, you're a citizen. No, it doesn't. And that's what I always thought. Until I started reading, basically in the last week. Once I started hearing he was going to challenge birthright citizenship, I said, well, wait a minute, you can't do that. I was as dumb as a liberal. No, if you're born here, you're fine. And then I read it. And I'm like, whoa, how are they going to interpret that statement? Have you guys known about that? PJ, I'm not explaining it because I don't know. I am not a legal scholar. I'm not trying to play one. I'm just saying that's what they're going to be leaning on, and that's going to be the argument that they bring to the Supreme Court. I don't know how that's going to shake out, because I don't know what the argument is going to be. But the argument is going to be subject to the jurisdiction thereof. They've already begun outlining it. If you want to do your own research, because damn, you're going to have to require some research there, because all of us, I shouldn't say all of us, everyone I knew was like, yeah, if you're born here, because I went and asked people, hey, if you're born here, you're a citizen? Yeah. If you're born here, you're a citizen? Yeah. Ask your friends. And then ask them this. Is there any qualifier on that? Is there any qualifier at all if you're born here, or is it automatic? And most people are going to say it's automatic until you actually read it. And then you see that one little half sentence, if you're subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So, PJ, I'm not explaining. I'm showing it to you and telling you it's coming. That's why they chose the states that they dropped them at. Yep, probably. I've been calling for the end of birthright citizenship since Trump's first term. It's you are not automatically citizen in U.S. at birth. Again, Neil, I'm not a lawyer, and I ain't about to, basically tell people that this is or isn't how it is. All I can say is that's what they're going to rely on. And I never saw that before. Literally, I'll be the first person to raise his hand. I already skipped over that. All persons born in the United States are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. I just blew past that. The same way she just blew past that. Everyone's born here as a citizen. Never thought to question that. And now I'm sure some of you, maybe there's some lawyers here, your parent must be a U.S. citizen. I don't know. But I can tell you, they're going to test it. They are now. That is going to be a huge issue. A lot of people are sleeping through it, but I've been hearing it more and more over the last 7 to 10 days. And I'm watching people who are talking about it. Obviously, Kristen Welker knew nothing about this. So let's go. In fact, I'm going to let you hear her say it again, because I think it's important that you hear exactly what she just said. Let's let her say it. Okay, here we go.
Look, our country is a mess.
Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you...
What you just heard there was a false citation. She just said on national television a false citation. She absolutely lied. I just picked that up that time. She absolutely lied. If you caught what she said, and I thought it was just a statement until I heard her again. What she said is, and I quote, the 14th Amendment says all persons born in the United States are citizens. She skipped it. She skipped it on purpose. You just heard it. If you want me to play it again, I'll play it again. She took that entire part of the sentence out as though it wasn't even there. Or whoever handed her that notepad, whoever said, here's what you need to ask him. And when he says it, go ahead and quote it. I'm like, well, no, you actually misquoted it. You actually gave a false citation of the United States Constitution. You're a reporter at NBC News, and you just gave a false citation of the Constitution. Shame on you. If you didn't say, and I quote, nobody would have known the worse for wear. You wouldn't be called. Probably nobody called them out all day. I've seen all kinds of people talking. Nobody said, hey, that ain't right. It doesn't say that. Barry gonna show him tonight. I'm like, I'm gonna show everybody tonight. She just lied on television. You just screwed your credibility. Yeah, come on, girl. You gotta be better than that. You gotta know some people are gonna check. I'm gonna play it one more time for you guys so you guys can hear it yourselves.
Look, our country is a mess.
Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Listen specifically to what she says here.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment?
She lied. I just caught her in a lie. I'm not sure if anyone else had even talked about that on television or YouTube. She lied. By saying the words, and I quote, you're putting quotation marks around the Constitution. I'm not going to belabor the point, but now you know, without any equivocation, this woman is a blithering idiot. Done. You're Curly, Larry, and Shep all together. You just lied to the American public on Meet the Flipping Press.
Amendment with an
Well, we're going to
executive
have to
action?
get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people. but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know if...
I love how he twisted it. You know that, right? Let me ask you a second time. You do know that, don't you? The big guys ain't got to help you. You don't know that, do you? No. Okay, just checking.
Somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land. Congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive action?
Well, if we can, through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you. We have to end it.
Let's talk about health care. I've been talking to Republican...
That was a major thing. He called her out on it. All right, so the next thing on my list here they told me to ask you is healthcare. Yeah, let me skip. You didn't respond to anything he just said. Man, you guys, we all could do her job. And Barry, she flat out misquoted the Constitution. Yep, absolutely. You just heard her. I want to make sure you guys all had it. Let's continue.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill, they say it's no longer feasible to repeal and replace Obamacare because it's so entrenched in the system. Do you see it that way? Is that now off the table, repealing and replacing?
When John McCain...
Imagine if, I don't know, in 1865, 1866, if somebody had went to Lincoln and goes, wait a second, bro, you can't free the slaves. Why not? It's so entrenched in the system. That's how we do things. Oh, I didn't realize we can't change stuff up. Or, later, when women got the vote. Oh, what are you talking about letting women vote? Oh, we can't let women vote. Why not? It's already entrenched in the system. You can't change it. Oh, I guess women can never vote. Hey, how about if we let black people vote? Oh, that can't happen. Why? Because it's already entrenched in the system. That was the most idiotic statement she makes in the interview. When your argument to someone is, I can't change something because that's the way it's always been. I work for a boss, and he said if anyone ever said that in a meeting, pack your crap and get out. You're done. If the answer to the question is, so why are we doing this? Well, that's just the way we always did it. You're fired. You're fired. I heard the story when I got hired in the job. Don't ever say to him, that's the way we do it. And she just told the incoming president of the United States, no, you can't change it. Why? That's just how we do it. It's how it is. Could you imagine telling your boss, hey, why are you doing it this way? I don't want you. That's just the way we do it here. Not any longer, because I'm going to find someone to do it the right way. Bye.
Let us down by voting, and Murkowski and Collins and whoever it was that voted against. But they really let us down. They did us a great disservice because we would have had great health. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people. It's lousy health care. When John McCain gave his thumbs down, after saying for 10 years that he wants to repeal and replace, okay? And then he came out, put his now famous thumbs down, and he became a hero to the left. Let me tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But but one thing I have to say, I inherited Obamacare. Or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but I inherited it. And I had a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot? And a lot of political people said, let it rot and let it be a failure. I said, that's not the right thing to do. And I had very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works now.
But you did try to overturn it,
it's
sir.
Well, it's
you did
lousy.
try to overturn it. You
No,
did
no.
have your Justice Department try to direct.
Now, if you notice, again, she said, just like it's the way it's always been, it's the same thing. Many of you may be on Obamacare. I'm not going to go there and say it's crap. But what I am going to say is every single person I've ever come across who's using Obamacare, I ask them, what is so good about Obamacare? And the number one answer, and many of you will probably hear this and say, oh yeah, is cost. It's cheaper. If cost is the only thing that really matters to you, and cost is the only thing that is the thing about Obamacare, you may want to look a little bit deeper. I mean, if you have to go to a doctor and you got to jump through hoops because you got to get this one referred and that one referred and get this pharmaceutical approved because they're not sure if they want to give you this pharmaceutical, and you can't go to this doctor, but you can go to this doctor because he's under the Obamacare umbrella. Are you getting the best coverage? You see, I know when I talk to the woman out in the living room, when I say to her, what are you looking for in medical coverage? A, I want to keep going to the doctor I have. B, I want to make sure if something happens, I'm covered with the best possible people. Best. So, having gone through a really, and I'm going to tell you right now, my wife, what was it? It's 2024, 2015 or 2016. She went to go have a dental procedure, and they hit a nerve or an artery or something, and they, stitched it up and sent her home. And the next day I'm at work, and I get a phone call. And the phone call, I'm like, hey babe. And I couldn't understand a word she was saying. And I'm like, what? And she had a stroke. A young woman had a stroke. Luckily, we lived about 1.5 miles from the hospital. They got her there, and by the time I got from the office to the hospital, she was already back like 99%. And I was like, whew. And then the doctor said, we got to do this, we got to do that, and we got to do this. And we got to do something called an ablation because she ended up having a blood clot from the dental surgery. It's a true story. Guy walks out, doctor, and he goes, can I talk to you? And I turned white, literally white. He goes, can we go in the room? No, I want to know right now. Oh, no, I'm sorry, she's okay. Well, don't do me like that. But I get in the room, he goes, she coded twice on the table. We had to bring her back and hit her with the paddles like 3 or 4 times. I almost lost my wife. That's why I'm so protective of her. If you look at her sideways, I'm probably going to hit you. She gets anything she wants because every day is a blessing. And she got better. Everything's fine. She's fine. No residual. Completely fine. Just want to let you know. But 3 weeks later, we got the bill, and I'm like, oh my God. If any of you have ever gone through heart surgery or anything like that, the bill was $250,000. We didn't pay a dime. Not 1 cent. Because we had a Cadillac plan where I was working. I've heard people have similar stories who had Obamacare. Either the person's no longer here, or they're pretty much not able to get the coverage and procedures they want to get. So if you're thinking that Obamacare is great because it's cheap, I hope you don't ever get into a situation where you really, really, really need the best. I mean, the kind of doctors that you find who have had journal articles written about them, because I didn't know who the guy was, and then afterwards I'm like, man, he's one of the best heart technicians in the country. Flies around, yeah. Don't let cost, if you can, be your defining, reason for saying something's good or bad.
Supreme Court did.
No, we got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much better health care right now. But right now, we have something that I made the best of. I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside. I did the right thing from a human standpoint. But, I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered. But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain, he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare, for 10 years, and then he voted against. Nobody understands it.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking, because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers.
Understand, the woman asking him the question isn't on Obamacare. Just want to make sure you understand that. She is a highly paid host on NBC and MSNBC. She probably makes, I don't know, upwards of $2 or $3 million a year. She's got the best of the best. And she's arguing about Obamacare with no substance of understanding. Yeah, you if you want to improve it, it's not something that you snap of fingers and it's there. A concept, maybe she doesn't understand it. She thinks it's a funny thing that this guy would just have a concept. It's because I can probably imagine what his concept is. How do we get people covered with the best possible coverage, with the best possible doctors, the best possible hospitals, without them going bankrupt? And how do we make that happen? Well, one of them might be, let's go ahead and drop down pharmaceutical cost. Let's drop down hospital cost. So it obviously needs to be, flushed out, but she doesn't have any answers. I bet you, I'm pretty sure if you Google it, she's probably making a couple $1 million a year. Easy.
We come up with a better answer. I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it. But until we have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare, I will say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it, and all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No.
sir.
Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir, will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
The answer is yes.
Okay, two things of what she said there. Okay, are people with pre-existing conditions going to be covered, and are their costs not going to go up? He said yes. Pretty sure I understand why he said yes. We're going to get to it in a second. But if any of you have anywhere worked for a corporation, of course your pre-existing conditions are accepted. That's the whole idea for being in a group plan, so they can amortize and spread out the risk. So yes, most corporations, when you get on a group plan, will have coverage for pre-existing medical conditions. Can it be cheaper? If you choose cheaper, see, one of the things that people don't understand, or maybe they do, is when you're presented with a medical plan, you can say, especially if you're like 24, 25 and you're 6 foot tall and bulletproof, oh, it's only going to cost me $14 a month, but my deductible's 10 grand. So I'm not planning on getting sick, so I'm good. But then you think to yourself, who is she really talking about? Because if you go back to what I said a second ago, and I talked about, the group plan at corporations. If you're working and you're working at a job for a company of, I think of any real substance, they're going to have health care available for you. You don't need, or you can choose not to, that's the other thing, which they don't let you do, I guess, sometimes, but you can choose not to have coverage. I was lucky growing up. When I went to college, I played football, had the best medical care there. And then after I got done playing football, I got a really good job. They had, medical care, and then so on and so on. Who are the people we're talking about that she's worried about? Because if you have no money, then we have a plan for that too. So who is it that needs Obamacare and needs it cheap? Because if you get stuck, it's still going to bankrupt you if you don't have the ability to pay for the deductible and everything else.
They'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their prices?
Because you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money. And there are ways of doing it, I believe.
Let's talk about abortion, sir. You have taken responsibility for overturning Roe.
Worst interviewer ever. You could have you were wanted to go so fast, you didn't want to go further into that question. Question would be, how can you have better care for a less cost? How can that even be possible, Mr. President? What you have in your mind that you can have better care for a less cost? She didn't care. Just move on to the next question. Let's talk about abortion.
Wade, you've said that abortion is now a state issue. There are steps that you could take, though, as president, to restrict abortion through executive action without Congress. More than half of abortions in this country are medication abortions. Will you restrict the availability of abortion pills when you're in office?
I'll probably stay with exactly what I've been saying for the last 2 years, and the answer is no.
You commit to that?
Well, I commit. I mean, do things change? I think they change. I hate to go on shows like Joe Biden. I'm not going to give my son a pardon. I will not, under any circumstances, give him a pardon. I watched this, and I always knew he was going to give him a pardon, and so I don't like putting myself in a position like that. So things do change, but I don't think it's going to change at all.
Now, big thing with that, and if you guys have seen my Rasmussen interview with Mark Mitchell, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all the liberal networks still want to push abortion. And it's declining, the amount of people who even care. At some point, you realize you're talking about, basically fax machines. Yeah, some people still use fax machines, but the greater portion of people in business, they've done away with fax machines. And the more you keep talking about it, the less people care. It's way down here, except for the nuts. And that's why these media companies are becoming wholly irrelevant. You're speaking to this many people. If the question that always comes up, is Trump going to speak to the entire country or just the people who voted for him? They always say that. 76, 77 million. How many of those people care about baby removal? How many of those people are transformers? At some point, those people have to get in line with the other people, not the other way around. I don't have to conform to you. You got to conform to all of us. This is us. We're no longer worried about your baby removal.
Kash Patel to be the next FBI director. He has a list in his book of 60 people that he calls members of the so-called deep state. It includes Democrats like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. It includes former members of your cabinet, from Bill Barr to Christopher Wray. You campaigned on destroying the deep state. Do you want Kash Patel to launch investigations into people on that list?
No.
Okay, so before he answers that, that's a trick question. That's a trap door. She tried to get a gotcha there. And Trump is smart enough to understand where she's going with that. If Kash Patel and Pam Bondi want to open up investigations on whoever, They are the people. She's the Attorney General. He's the FBI Director, or will be. They are the ones who determine legally where investigations go. What she tried to just do there was get him in trouble. Oh yeah, I'm telling them to go do this. You ain't that slick, honey. You're not going to get him. He's been through this already. He's been impeached twice. He's been through 34 felony counts. He knows the game at this point. Nice try. Nice try.
He's going to do what he thinks is right.
Do you think that's right?
Tell you,
do you think that's right, sir?
If they think that somebody was dishonest or crooked or a corrupt politician, I think he probably has an obligation to do it.
Bingo. Bingo. See, this isn't about going after your political enemies. I'm the president. I'm just hiring these people. This guy here is going to be the director of the FBI. She's going to be the attorney general. I assume they're confident. I assume they're competent. I assume they're going to basically make sure that they take care of the American people. If they see something, they have the authority based on their position to do what they need to do. They don't need my approval, nor would I say go after them. You see, there's enough stuff out there right now that any of us, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, you may not be a lawyer, but any of us can say, that doesn't smell right. How in the hell how does Nancy Pelosi have $250 million and she ain't worked a salary a day in her life over 200 grand? How is that happening? How is that not insider trading? We all can see it. Trump doesn't need to go there. And then, of course, with the J6 stuff and everything, if you hire the right people, you give them the resources, you let them do their jobs.
But
are you going to direct him to do it?
No, not at all. Not at all. We have two great people there. We have him and we have Pam. And Pam Bondi has been like a rocket ship. She's very popular and very good and very fair. And Kash Patel is very fair. I'll tell you, I thought Kash may be difficult because he's, a strong conservative voice. And I don't know of anybody that's not singing his praises. The other day I was watching, and Trey Gowdy, who's a moderate person and very smart and very respected in the party, he's Kash's biggest fan. He said, this is the most misunderstood man in politics. He's great. I guess they worked together on the Russia hoax or something. And Trey Gowdy became a fan. Trey Gowdy. Everybody respects him. And, just like him, others also. I don't know of one negative vote. I don't think he's going to have any negative votes.
Is it your expectation, though, that Kash Patel will pursue investigations against your political enemies?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want to see that happen?
If they were crooked, if they did something wrong, if they have broken the law, probably. They went after me, They went after me and I did nothing wrong.
Well, let me ask you this. You said President Biden, quote, that you're going to appoint a real special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden. You said that
Where
during
did I say that?
the campaign.
Where?
You said that on Truth Social, June 12th, 2023. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. Are you going to do that? Are you going to go after Joe Biden?
I'm really looking to make a...
That's not what he said. He caught her again. What? And he kind of said it under his breath. Oh, that part's true. Because he caught her. You said you're going to go after him. And he said, no. Where'd I say that? Man's really smart. Because her question was, you said you were going to go after Joe Biden. And he goes, didn't say it. And she goes, yes, you said it on July 12th, 2020, whatever date it was. And he goes, you think I said it? And then when she read it, what did she say? I'm going to appoint a special prosecutor to go look at the most corrupt guy, blah, blah, blah. Very small difference, very big difference legally. I'm going to appoint a special counsel to go do that. She, just like she did with the Constitution, she tried to just make it all like it was a quote from him. And that's why he knew. I didn't say that. Never said it. Oh, yeah, you did. You said it in the True Social post. Oh, really? Yeah, didn't say it. And then she read it, and he's like, yeah, that part's true. And she blew right past it because she didn't realize she stepped into her own bear trap. I do this all the time so I can let you guys hear specifically what people say. I know some people get pissed off because I stop sometimes, but sometimes you have to stop and listen. And this man listens, and he knows what he wrote. I didn't say that. Blah, blah, blah. Didn't say it. When did I say it? On July 20th, you said I'm going to appoint a special... So I didn't say I, right? So it's not me. What you just said is I'm going to go after him. I said I'm appointing somebody. She didn't even realize she'd been had right there.
Country successful. I'm not looking to go back into the past. I'm looking to make our country successful. Retribution will be through success. If we can make this country successful, that would be my greatest, that would be such a great achievement. Bring it back. We have a country now that's overridden with crime, that has millions of people that shouldn't be here, that should be in prisons in other countries, that should be in mental institutions. We have drug lords being dropped into our country and told never go back to their country. I'm looking to make our country great. I'm looking to bring prices down because, you know, I won on two things, the border, and more than immigration. You know, they like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I won on the border and I won on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, you know, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
I want to pause here because what you're saying is significant. Because you wrote on Truth Social in 2023 that you're going to appoint a real special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden. Now you're saying you're not going to do that.
I will say this. No, I'm not doing that unless I find something that I think is reasonable. But that's not going to be my decision. That's going to be Pam Bondi's decision. And to a different extent.
See, she tried to get him, and he came right back again. Hey, not me. That's Pam Bondi.
Extent, Kash Patel. Assuming they're both there, and I think they're both going to get approved. But you know, while you ask me that, what they've done to me with weaponization is a disgrace.
We'll get to some of that.
No,
sir.
no, wait. You can't do one without the other. In the history of our country, nothing like this has ever happened. And I've won these cases. I've won every one, and the rest are in the process of being won.
Look at his face as he's talking right here. This is the part that told me, as I told you before things started, that he doesn't care. He's actually letting her know you're irrelevant. She tried to interrupt him. He's like, nah, that ain't happening. Let me talk. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. This has never happened to anybody else, and it ain't happening again.
Deranged Jack Smith is on his way back to The Hague, where he can execute people. This is where he should have stayed. I think he's dangerous even being there. But I'll tell you what they've done to me in terms of weaponization, indictments, impeachments, and everything else. And in the end, it probably helped me because I got the biggest vote, the most votes any Republican's ever gotten in history.
Pam Bondi talks about investigating the investigators. Do you want her to investigate Jack Smith?
I want her to do what she wants to do.
Do you want to see Jack Smith investigated?
Well, I think he's very corrupt. But
she's trying to get him in trouble. Whoever set up this interview tried to get him in trouble. She tried to trap him and say, you're going to be targeting people. And he was smart enough to realize this is what was going to happen. And she keeps saying it to you. Tell me, my eyes are really big. You want to do it, don't you? And he's like, no, it's Pam. It's all on her.
But I want her to do whatever she has to do.
Are you going to direct her to prosecute
I'm not.
Jack
She's
Smith?
a very smart person. She was a great attorney general in Florida. She's very experienced. I want her to do what she wants to do. I'm not going to instruct her to do it now.
Sir.
And bam, right there. That whoever put her up to it said, you got to get him to say this. Come back 3, 4, 5 times. But keep saying it. Keep saying it. Get him to say, I am going to go after these people. He ain't playing your games, girl. You're in over your head. The master smacked you down to the point where you had nothing to say.
Are you going to fire the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled. I don't want to be Joe Biden and give you an answer and then do the exact opposite.
We're going to talk about
so
that.
I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to say is I certainly cannot be happy with him. You take a look at what's happened. And then when I was shot in the ear, he said, oh, maybe it was shrapnel. Where's the shrapnel coming from? Is it coming from...
This man is pissed. I mean, Tucker Carlson said it best. Daddy's home and he's pissed as hell. You can just look in his eyes, and you can tell this man ain't playing. I mean, you took a shot at me. You came into my house, and you media bimbo, you think that everything should be fine. You're out of your absolutely you're out of your mind. No, it's not fine. No, I'm not just gonna quote get over it.
Coming from heaven? I don't think so. So we need somebody to straighten. I have a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect has gone way down over the last number of years.
Don't you have to fire him in order to make room for Kash Patel if he is in fact confirmed?
Well, I mean, it would sort of seem pretty obvious that if Kash gets in, he's going to be taking somebody's place, right? There's somebody.
We're not worthy. We are so not worthy. If Kash Patel gets in, he's pretty much going to take somebody's place, right? Jane, you stupid.
Is the man that you're talking about.
I asked you last time we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was given the option. And the lawyers told me, a very specific lawyer, I don't have to go into who, but very high up in the administration said, sir, if you pardon yourself, you're going to look guilty. And you did nothing wrong. Oh, I had that option. I could have saved myself a lot of legal fees. But it turned out that I was right. Look at what's gone on. Everything's being dropped. I still have a Fani Willis, a total hoax. That's a total hoax. It's all being dropped.
I also asked the president-elect about NBC News' reporting that President Biden is considering preemptive pardons for some of the people who have clashed with Mr. Trump, including Senator-elect Adam Schiff, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and former Congresswoman Liz Cheney. As part of his response, Mr. Trump lashed out at the January 6th committee.
And Cheney...
She had like 4 or 5 of those inserts on her live show today. Sort of like when I do my interviews and I have my recorded part, and then I'll come in and I'll insert my live part. Well, the live part, Trump didn't see. And she would say snarky things like that. And I just wanted you to see that one, because she probably made 4 or 5 of them where she came in with something snarky. She must have went back to the studio after they filmed everything and went, man, we didn't get anything. So like, okay, let's do these inserts and let's go after them with the inserts.
Was behind it. Well, and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think.
Did he stutter? I mean... The man just said to you they should go to jail. Should they go to jail? What? How did you get this job where you are? You ask a question. The man answers you looking at your giant eyes. You're freaking out. And after he answers you, you say the exact same question. Yeah, they should go to jail.
Anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No.
See that? Came back around again. Are you going to tell them to do it? So somebody obviously had set her up for this interview and said, we got to get him to say he's going to do it. And at the same time, Trump and his people said, they're going to try and trap you. they're going to try and get you to say that you're coming after people and that you're going to do it. And every single time he just, I was going to almost said the word bish. He bish slapped her, and he bish slapped her over and over again. To the point where probably after the third or fourth time, you guys have been watching this for 90 minutes, probably after the third or fourth time, he realized, honey, you're making it way too obvious. You're making it so obvious. You're so over the top. Anybody can see what you're trying to do now. So every time you say to me, you're going to do it, right? You. And you're like, nah, I ain't doing nothing. I got these other people going to do the wet work here. You're not going to get it out of me that I'm the one who's going to do this.
Not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
And I asked the president-elect if he plans to follow through on his campaign promise to pardon those who attacked the Capitol on January 6th, including the more than 900 people who pleaded guilty to crimes.
I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah.
Oh, you're screaming liberals across the country right now. Oh, you mean like in your first 100 days? Day one. Day one. Like we've talked to Kimberly Wargo, who's often in our fanfare group here, who, right now she is still under a probation order for the next year and a half for walking around in a building. And they think this is still something, I don't know, they still think this is something to talk about. The man just won in a landslide. The man just won running on a campaign of obliterating the deep state and getting rid of all these convictions for the J6ers. Why are you still wondering are you serious? Are you really going to do it? Yes. What don't you understand? I'm going to go through what I said I'm going to do. We're over a month after the election. You're still asking questions as though it's November 3rd or 4th. It's happening, honey. Strap on, get ready. As much as your people don't like it, get ready.
I'm looking for
issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it? 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
By the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place.
You see, are you watching his face? I watched this, and I watched it 2 or 3 times today while I was watching football, and I'm just watching his face, and that's why I believe this was a visceral Trump FU to the media. You don't think this is coming, do you? You don't understand. This is really what I'm going to do. I'm not sure why you still have, some doubts, but I'm coming for y'all. And Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Christopher Wray, you guys better get out and run. They're gonna do whatever investigations they want to do. I'm pretty sure you've already read what Kash Patel said he's going to do. I'm pretty sure Kash Patel and Pam Bondi have been having meetings. It's going to happen. Wake up. There's nothing you can say on MSNBC, Joy Reid, Rachel. There's nothing you can say. You cannot stop what is coming. On January 20th, he's going to pardon all these people. Snap out of it. It's coming. The man won in a landslide, and you're still asking, are you really going to do this?
That shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into office?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
You said you can end the war in 24 hours. You've even said you want to try to end it before you're sworn into office.
I'm trying to end it.
You're actively trying to?
I am.
Have you talked to President Putin?
No, I have not.
You haven't talked to President Putin
No, I have
since
not.
you've been
You
elected?
mean, well, I don't want to say that, but I haven't spoken to him recently.
So you've spoken to President Putin since you've been elected?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say anything about that because I don't want to do.
Try it again. You ain't good enough. At this point, I don't know how far into the interview because the way they cut it. So I'm not really sure how far into this interview. Here she comes again. Did you talk to Putin? Have you talked to Putin? You ain't cut out for this, girl.
anything that could impede the negotiation.
But you
I want to
have
stop.
talked about
Let me
the
tell you
other
what I have
world
talked
leaders.
about. Let me tell
Okay.
you. There are people being killed in that war at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You have to go back to the Second World War, and even that, if you take a look at, and you know what it is? It's the soldiers largely. The cities have been emptied out and demolished. The country has been demolished. If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because we don't need to start that argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really proven even more conclusively by the win that I had on this one. But
you did.
Okay, so now she's going to come back, with the 2020 because they're still adjudicating that.
Sir,
well, that's your opinion, but I
okay.
disagree with it. Had I kept control, number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two, Ukraine would have never happened. It would have never happened, Ukraine, Russia. But the number of people that are being killed, soldiers, young, beautiful soldiers, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. And it's very interesting. It's level, totally level. The battlefields, totally level. You know what's happening? Yeah. The only thing that stops a bullet, you know what it is a body, a human body. And the people that are being killed, hundreds of thousands on both sides. Russia's lost probably 500,000. Ukraine's lost higher than they say, probably 400,000. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of bodies laying all over fields. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it should have never been allowed to happen. Biden should have been able to stop it.
Sir, will the United States stay in NATO while you're in office?
In where?
NATO. Do you commit that the United States will remain a member of NATO while you're in office?
Again, they have to pay their bills. If they pay their bills, absolutely.
But not if they don't pay their bills.
But NATO's taken advantage of us because we were look, two things. Number one,
The only way you could ask these questions if you don't know Trump. He has told these people, I'm coming back in and you're going to have to pay up. I mean, it's almost like a mafia protection racket. You just can't expect me to just keep doing this. I got to wet my beak. You're going to have to pay America. What do these liberals think, that we're just this giant piggy bank for the world?
Take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars, they don't take our food products, they don't take anything. They think it's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
But if not, you would consider the possibility of
Absolutely.
He just told you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You've tapped Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Before we get into Doge, let me just tell you. So last night, they say they're going to ship another billion over to Ukraine. Billion. Trying to get as much money out the door as fast as possible and trying to lock, Trump's hands so he can't do anything. Which, this time it's a contract. So they're booking money in advance and signing the United States name to it so that he has to fulfill it. Which, if you know anything about contracts, he's going to find a way out of it. Number two, first day, not even 24 hours after Syria falls. Not even 24 hours. What's the first thing Biden does? Run out there with, we got to give some money to Syria, and we got to help the Syrian people, and people in Appalachia are freezing to death. And so now they I don't know if I can say this. Hold on. I almost think that what happened in Syria was escalated because certain three-letter agencies in America needed to find another way to ship more money out the door. Don't be surprised if probably sometime this week, by Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to find out that, another billion is now going to Syria. They don't even have a government yet. They don't even know who's running the show there. But somehow we're going to pledge $1 billion to Syria. Nobody has said it. He hasn't said the number, but you watch what happens. If not by the end of this week, by the end of next week, there's going to be a whole nother place where they're going to be shipping money to. It has nothing to do with us. Trump even posted it yesterday. Keep us out of this. We got no reason to be looking over there in Syria. None whatsoever. But the first day, within 24 hours, Biden jumps out there and says in his unintelligible way, now we're going to start funding Syria. For the Syria people, we got to help the people in Syria, and you guys got to give some more. Give till it hurts. Because now we got to help Ukraine, and we got to help these people in Syria, so we got to give them $1 billion too. Everybody gets $1 billion. Just keep pulling money before Trump gets in office. I guarantee you it's coming.
Head up this Department of Government Efficiency. Correct. Which proposes cuts to the federal government. I think a lot of people hear that and they get concerned about Medicare and Social Security and
Not
Medicaid
gonna have anything to do.
and defense spending. You won't touch Medicare, Social Security.
Abuse, fraud. Okay. No, I said to people, we're not touching Social Security, other than we might make it more efficient, but the people are going to get what they're getting.
Okay, so the entitlements
And
off the table.
And we're not raising ages or any of that stuff.
Okay,
No,
off the table.
I won't do it.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No.
No. Woo, you know she didn't expect that one. You just let it go now. Hell no. That's what he should have said. He should have said no. Never mind. Hell no. We're going to go look at that. The camera wasn't on her face, but I'm pretty sure her eyes were like this big. Like, what? No. Did you hear me? Let me say it again.
No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they
Democrats
do it
have control now
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why?
She's not gonna like this answer. You already know it's coming. It's coming. You know, if they cheat, why didn't they cheat this time?
Didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
Speechless. She had no retort. Couldn't come back. It was too big to rig. I kept telling people, they're gonna try. They're gonna try. We got to make it too big to rig. And she had no comeback, no response.
So you won't...
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that...
She started to talk and he's like, too big to rig. Said it again, just shut up. I have no respect for you. Just to let you know, I'm looking at you and just shredding you. Too big to rig. Oh, okay. Next question.
You're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020, and they want to move on.
I have very capable. I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know.
See, she's doing it again. So that's where it became obvious to me that somebody put her up to this and said, you got to trap him. And of course, Trump, who eats these people for lunch, at this point, he's like, man, this is really too obvious. You guys who've been sitting here watching it, you've heard her over and over and over. So are you going to do this? Dude, stop asking me this stupid question. You're going to get the same answer.
I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
One of the things that made this campaign unprecedented and extraordinary were the horrific attempts against your life. 2 assassination attempts. Do you feel safe going into the White House
I do.
for the next 4 years? Why?
I have confidence in Secret Service. I know the people. I got to know a lot of them, and I have confidence. It was a bad moment. Something shouldn't have happened, but I have a lot of confidence, and they've really stepped it up. They were restricted from giving look, I do a rally, and you were at many of them, and I'd have 50,000 people. Joe would have a rally, and he'd have 30 people. And he had more Secret Service than me. My Secret Service was always asking for more manpower / women power. They were asking for more and more and more, and they couldn't get it. I'm not blaming them, really, because they were always fighting for more people, and they wouldn't get. Now, boy, do we have it.
I want to ask you, sir, one final question. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country. These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA. We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. You know, our country is under threat, as you know. We have a tremendous threat militarily because of the power of weapons and weaponry. It's a tremendous threat. Nobody talks about it, but it's a tremendous threat. I want to treat everybody the same. I want to treat them well. And at the end of this 4 years, I have a big head start because I was there for 4 years fairly recently. A lot of bad things were done during the 4 years that I wasn't there, and mostly in what they've done in terms of our reputation overseas. Our reputation is so bad, so shot. I got to bring it back, and I also have to bring back civilization to our country. Our country is a crime pot, and we have to get rid of crime. We have so many things to do. We have to do the prices. We have to do all of that. But we have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to bring down crime. People have to be able to walk across the street and buy a loaf of bread without being shot, and that's going to happen. But what I say to them is, I love you, and we're going to all work together, and we're going to bring it together. And you know what's going to bring it together? Success. I saw that just prior to COVID coming in, I had polls that were the highest anyone. McLaughlin and Fabrizio said, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, if they came back from the dead and they ran as president and vice president, couldn't beat you, sir. We were doing so well. And I was getting along with the left. Let's call it the left will be nice. Okay, we're just going to call it. But I was getting along with people that you would consider liberal or progressive, as they like to say, at levels that I never thought was possible. And you know what it was? Success. Success was bringing the country together, and that's what I want to do.
Let me ask you, sir, as you think.
So with that, as I watched that, as you did, I didn't want to interrupt that at all. Well, what I found very interesting in what he said there, success changes minds. And number two, or actually number one, I'm going to treat you the same way I treat the most fervent MAGA supporter. In other words, I'm going to make America great again, and I'm going to work hard to make America great again. I'm going to do what I promised to the people who support me, and whether you like it or not, you're going to benefit. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you voted against me. Just by nature of me being here, I am going to make your life better. I'm going to treat you the same as I would treat my MAGA supporters. Why? Because when you go to the grocery store, that friggin' Trump, grocery prices are better. When you're at the gas pump, I hate Trump. Gas prices are better. I hate Trump. I can't stand him. Let me check into my shift here. And I open up that check in 2 weeks and I'm like, whoa, no tax on tips. See, you can hate Trump. You can be disgusted with Trump, but you're going to benefit from him. And that success is what he's talking about. I'm going to treat you the same way I'm going to treat my MAGA supporters. You ain't going to have no say in it. None. You're just going to be a benefactor. You just get it. I was talking to a distant relative who works as a server, hates Trump. And I just kind of slyly just asked, so you're going to like having no taxes on tips? What do you mean? She didn't even know about it. Have you not followed along at all? No, what are you talking about? Trump is going to make it so there's no taxes on tips. See, you don't even have to like Trump. You didn't have to vote for him, but guess what? You're going to get some. That's what he means when he says success is the retribution. Success will destroy the Democrat Party. Because 4 years from now, when he's successful doing everything he said, so many of these people who hate his guts, week after week after week, will be benefiting from what he's done. You're going to get the same as my MAGA supporters. How do you deal with that? No, I don't want, I'm going to pay taxes on tips. I hate Trump. Okay, well, write the check, big mouth. No, I want to pay taxes on my overtime. I said nobody ever. I'm going to pay the grocery store extra because I don't want cheaper groceries. You're understanding what he said there? That's what he meant. Success is the retribution, because then I will destroy the Democrat Party. And number two, guess what? You may not like MAGA, but you're going to be MAGA. That's a t-shirt. You might not like MAGA, but you're about to be MAGA. Yeah, I'm about to make, man, I got all these t-shirt ideas. And then we can hand them out to our liberal friends. Because by let's say it gets done in March. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. By April, like, hey, April, May, how you liking not paying no taxes? Yeah, you were right. You were right, Barry. I love it. Huh? You know, he did this, right? So you want to go back to paying more taxes? You like that extra money in your bank account, don't you? Oh, yeah. Success is the retribution. You are going to get the benefits of being MAGA. Just shut the F up and say thank you. That's all I want to hear from you. All you libnuts shaving your head and everything else until you decide to write more income IRS checks and say, I don't want nothing to do with this no taxes on tips. I want nothing to do with these no taxes on overtime. No, I don't want it. I don't. That way you can laugh at them. You're MAGA. You don't even know it. Put on the red hat. Got an extra hat for you because you're MAGA. That's what he meant when he said, I'm going to treat them just like my supporters. See, Kristen Welker, she probably didn't even, what does he mean by that? Because she can't even comprehend. You can. You understand now. Light bulbs just went off. Like, oh yeah. Once no taxes happen, people are going to be getting the same stuff we are. Everything we voted, there's no line on the left or right that says, they get no tax on tips, you keep paying taxes. No, everybody benefits. The grocery prices are lower for MAGA people. No, the grocery prices are for the people who hate me too. Gas prices are lower for MAGA, but them too, they can hate you and still get, everybody. That success destroys the Democrat Party. That's why I've been saying I don't think they can survive.
About your inauguration. I remember your first inaugural address. You talked about American carnage. Have you thought about your message for your second inaugural address?
I have.
Can you give us a preview?
We're going to have a message that will make you happy, unity. It's going to be a message of unity. And again, I think success brings unity. And I've experienced that. I've experienced it in my first term, as I said. We're going to be talking about unity, and we're going to be talking about success, making our country safe, keeping people that shouldn't be in our country out. We have to do that. I know it doesn't sound nice, but we have to do that. But basically, it's going to be about bringing our country together.
Sir, when you think about your time in office, you are making history for a range of reasons, including the fact you will be the oldest person to be sworn into office. Do you commit to releasing your medical records?
Sure, I do it all the time. I think I've released 4 of them.
Not just a letter, though, your full medical report.
Yeah, I would, and I think anybody should, but I mean, according to all the reports, I don't want to, where's wood? Is there some wood where I can knock on wood? But my reports are very good, very strong.
So you plan to release
Sure, I have no problem with it.
I don't know why she kept asking the same question after he gave the answer. So you're going to do it. So you're going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So that was my critique or reaction to the interview. While we've been doing this, the man has been working. On Sunday evening, late, he's still working. And many of you are going to love this new development that just came out. I am pleased to announce that Alina Habba will join my White House team as counselor to the president. Alina has been a tireless advocate for justice, a fierce defender of the rule of law, and an invaluable advisor to my campaign and transition team. She has been unwavering in her... What's that word? Oh, loyalty. And unmatched in her resolve, standing with me through numerous trials. I love how I quoted that. Battles and countless days in court. Few understand the weaponization of the injustice system better than Alina, who has fought relentlessly against the full force of lawfare with courage and an unshakable commitment to justice. As a first-generation American of Middle Eastern heritage, she has become a role model for women in law and politics, most recently being named Chaldean Woman of the Year. Congratulations to Alina, her husband Greg, and her 3 beautiful children, Chloe, Luke, and Parker. You got to counsel your liberal friends. Tell them it's going to be okay. They hate Alina Habba. Why? I don't know. Beautiful, successful, take no crap from anybody. Maybe all 3 combined, but that's going to drive them crazy. That Alina Habba is going to be in the White House as well. Oh, that's bad. It's going to drive them nuts. Absolutely crazy. We got another one here. Let's bring this one over. Man's been busy. Michael Anton will become Director of Policy Planning at the State Department. Michael served me, quote, there's that word again, loyally and effectively at the National Security Council in my first term. He has an extensive background in government, the private sector, and academia. He spent the last 8 years explaining what an America First foreign policy truly means. As I've said many times, Trump is very definitive in what he does. The fact that he's using the word loyally and loyalty, he's doing it basically to poke at these people, saying, that's exactly what I'm doing. You don't have to wonder anymore. Oh, Trump's naming loyalists. Yeah, no crap. I don't want to hire backstabbers. I want to hire people who are going to be loyal to me. I learned the first time what happens if you don't get loyal people. Cry. And we got another one. This is Michael Needham. Michael Needham will serve as counselor of the Department of State. Michael has capably served Senator Marco Rubio for many years and is a key leader in the American First Movement. He has been on the front lines of the fight for the forgotten men and women of America for nearly 2 decades and will do a great job at state. So on a Sunday evening, Trump is out here just nominating people and putting them out there. Oh, and we're not done. No. You thought we might have been done. We got more. I am pleased to nominate Christopher Landau to serve as Deputy Secretary of State. Chris will work closely with our great Secretary of State nominee, Marco Rubio, to promote our nation's security and prosperity through an America First foreign policy. Chris served as my ambassador to Mexico, where he worked tirelessly with our team to reduce, illegal migration to the lowest levels in history. He is also one of our country's great lawyers and clerk for both Justices Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas on the United States Supreme Court. He graduated from Harvard College, first in his class. Whew, wow! And Harvard Law, and has argued 9 cases at the Supreme Court level. Could that possibly be, since he has, let me look at this again. This guy's an attorney who was an ambassador to Mexico, who helped reduce illegal migration, who is one of the foremost attorneys in the country, understands how the Supreme Court works, and has had 9 cases in the Supreme Court. Remind you of anything we talked about earlier in terms of birthright citizenship? You know, about that clause that she left out? Interesting. Putting a band together. Very good. And we got another one. And this one is the last one of the night, I think. Congratulations to Chairman Brian Schimming for being reelected to another term. Okay, this is just a congratulations. So this isn't one for his administration. So, nope, I think that's it then. Let me just check and see if he hasn't nominated anybody else for anything while we've been here. Hit refresh. And no, that's it. All right, so busy day and night, and he posted that last one about Christopher Landau. What time did that get posted? At 7 o'clock. Alina Habba. So they're gonna lose it. That interview didn't go the way they expected. They didn't get the responses that they were trying to get. She failed. He laughed at her. They're going to go forward. You guys are done. And in fact, what's her name? Caroline Levitt said they're going to do different kinds of press conferences. They're going to bring in people who have YouTube channels and things like that. Whew, it's gonna be crazy. All right, let me take a few comments, then we get out of here. Christine Peterson, thank you very much for breaking down. Thank you very much for watching. Matt Gaetz will end up on a council. So, in case you haven't seen that, let me just let me see if I can find something that got posted earlier. Yeah, I was able to bring it up. Ginger Gaetz is Matt Gaetz' wife. Ginger Gaetz posted, big news coming next week. I don't know what it is, but it's big news coming next week. Man, these liberals about to lose it. Absolutely lose it. I don't know what's coming next week, but obviously something big is coming. Matt posted this himself earlier when he was talking about Christopher Wray, and then will you fire Christopher Wray? And they said it would be sort of pretty obvious that if Kash Patel gets in, when we all looked at that, and he goes, yeah, as obvious as the FISA violations. Man, there is so much stuff happening behind the scenes. It's absolutely crazy. So we're not even seeing it all. We don't know what's going on. But the fact that she said something big is coming next week, I understand. She didn't post that without him knowing. He had to have said, yeah, you can post it. Don't worry about it. So something big next week. Right before Christmas. We're about to hear something else. Don't know what it's going to be. We'll see. Special counsel, possibly special counsel with the happy face icon on her message. Exactly. Matt Gaetz for Grand Imperial Inquisitor. Matt Gaetz will probably be named special counsel for Pam Bondi. Somebody says. I don't know if you could do that yet, can you? Because she hasn't even been sworn in. So, who knows? Oh, yeah, like Karen Deja said. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. Things are getting good. Things are definitely getting good. Let's see what here. Can someone ask Barry if he knows about Carrie Lake? What about Carrie Lake? Nothing. I know that they cheated her out of the whole Arizona Senate thing, so maybe, she's, I don't know. No, I don't know anything about what she's going to be doing. Someone is talking about the immigration stuff, said if mom and dad are newcomers, so then so is the baby. I'm telling you, I don't have that information. I don't know what exactly all that means. But I do mean, in case you're late, let me see if I still have it up here. Yes, I still have it up here. I want you to, again, before we leave, I'm not a constitutional scholar. I don't know. But I did catch her lying about what the Constitution says. And she left that entire part out. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. All the liberals say, anybody born here is a citizen, and they leave that part out. I don't know what that means legally, but what I do know is that's going to be the contention for a fight moving forward. Trump is going to have his attorneys allege that just because you have a baby here does not necessarily mean that this new baby is a citizen. And then all hell is going to break loose. The libnuts are going to go crazy when they see that he's even touching that third rail. And again, I'm not trained in that, but I can see that she omitted that one line. And until this, or actually last 7 days, I didn't know that line existed. I never knew it had that little part of clause. I always thought it said if you're born here, you're a citizen. Everything I always knew said if you're born here, you're a citizen. Now I know different. Now we get to see the fireworks and what happens. Yeah, we gonna find out. That's for sure, Shayla. We definitely gonna find out. Big time. Somebody's like, play Trump's winning clip. Do I have it there? Oh yeah, I have it here. Hold on.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
It's going to get good. It's going to get really, really good. All right, so let me start look up. Before I do that, I got to tell you guys, if you'd like to join our private yet free group on X, there's no charge. It's completely free, and you'll join close to 12,000 fellow patriots on our fanfare private X group. Just put that URL in, fanfareshop.org/group, and you'll be taken to the X group directly. And then, if you'd like to go ahead and register to win a hoodie, just go to fanfareshop.org and you can enter to win a hoodie. And tonight, since it's a night show, and I usually give away the hoodies in the night shows, let me go ahead and get this ready so I can give away 3. Hold on, let me get there. I'm setting it up. Okay. Hold on. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. And so now I can go to here and go to live draw. All right, so let's go ahead and give away 3 hoodies right now. And let me go ahead and pull that on the screen. Where is it? So everybody can see it. There it is. And let me get Tommy Lawrence's drum roll ready. Here we go. They picked a winner. Drum roll. Maria Mangrum. Maria Mangrum, you have won a new hoodie. Let me go back to the live draw. Click here. And I missed the... Cher Anderson, you have won a new hoodie. And one more, live draw, and I have to remember to hit the drum roll before I pick. Kurt Elliott. congratulations to the winners. Thanks for playing. Thanks for signing up. Just go ahead. And again, Ashley, she just ordered a bunch more too. If you want to enter, just go here to fanfareshop.org. But I got a bone to pick. Y'all not sending enough pictures back. You get these hoodies and they come in the mail and you're like, oh, this is nice and warm. Nice fitting hoodie. Get the selfie. Get the selfie so we can show more people. I think we've gotten like 4 pictures out of like the 100 or so people who want a hoodie. We want your pictures. You look good. You can do it. Post them in the X group and everything else. Let me see the winners, please. It really makes us feel good. So please send us pictures. All right, let me do super chats. Anthony Semino, Barry, I just want you to know I have been watching you for quite some time now. This is one of the best shows. Oh, thank you very much, Anthony. Fume Drummer, Americans in Germany have babies and the kids are Americans. Why would those kind of babies not belong to the parents' country of origin? Can't answer that. I'm not a constitutional attorney, but we're about to find out, that's for sure. Sunflower, thank you again. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I mean, I just saw it. It made sense, and I'm like, okay, so it's obviously going to get risen to the Supreme Court. Let's see what happens. 1776 Viking, thank you. Barry got my handle in 2013 because we needed another revolutionist. God answer my prayers. I put your wife in my prayer list. God bless the both of you. Thank you very much. From me, too much. Melanated for MAGA. Diamond G. Too Big to Rig, The Second Coming in theaters 2022. Oh, believe me, I think it is. What? Somebody wrote and said Kristen Welker's salary is more than 100. No, it's a lot more than that. She works for MSNBC. She's been there a while. I'm pretty sure she's up in that million dollar category. Here, let me see if I can find it if it's important here. Kristen Welker salary. Let's see if I can find it. She has a $3 million net worth. Yeah, I see where you're saying it. I guess they're hiding hers for some reason. Don't know, but she's getting paid. Super chat from Patriot Mom. Whoop whoop! I'm getting my pardon. Hope I get it in the certificate. I think that might be Kimberly. Kimberly, yeah, you might be. The way it sounds, January 20th, first day. Gray Man, I can relate to you very about being protective of Robin. I nearly lost my wife 15 years ago to cancer. God bless you, and Robin, thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's it was weird. Demon of Cybertron, coming from a second-gen Mexican. I think you've been living here and made a life for years now, and you haven't done anything wrong. You will be okay. Carl Hassenauer. A lot of citizens know very little about how our government works. When it comes to the First Amendment, it has 5 parts: speech, religion, press, assembly, petition. Okay. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You're right. I do recall that as well. Diana Torian. Thank you, Barry, for educating us with the truth. Love, and Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas to all of you, by the way. Want to make sure that I say that. Amy Wagner said her first cardiac arrest at age 44 cost $284,000. Yeah, it's crazy. And so, yeah, you want to make sure you got you want the don't just go for price. Don't just go for price. Kim Hansen, Civil Rights Act of 1866 granted citizenship to all former slaves. 14th Amendment for slaves, not every Tom, Richard, and Harry on the planet. A lot of these old laws have sat there and people have misconstrued them. You're absolutely right. She also said Kamala was at the dignified transfer. I laughed at the next one. Chris Mississippi says Midas Pup is a dreamer. He's affiliated very well in South Florida, owns his own home, and is raising 2 humans. I say Midas gets to say. Yeah, he's laying over here. He loves to sleep, man. Loves to sleep. Miss Fabulous, I immigrated in 2006, became a citizen 2013 legally. Waited for 10 years to get my green card. Salute. Absolute salute to you for that. Let's see here. Descent Asylum says, nobody cares about polio, the hardscapes guy from South Carolina I work with, and no polio criminals and Bidens have waived priority number 1 and 2. Not really sure what you mean, but thank you. From Me Too, thank you very much. And Big Cat, how you been, brother? Thanks for a Sunday rundown. Yeah, I wanted to wait and see everything. I wanted you to see all the different clips out there, and then when I did the poll, let me see what that poll came back at. I did a poll earlier, like how many people have seen this thing, and 66% out of 6,000 votes hadn't seen any of it, and 19% said they'd seen some clips. So it was like some of you guys were seeing it for the first time. Stephen Morse, thank you very, very, very much. Buy American made, keep our economy ours. Absolutely. That is exactly what it has to be. And don't let anyone tell you that you automatically are going to have to absorb certain costs. That's just not true. You have a choice. Kim Hansen, take care of North Carolina and our homeless first. Absolutely. Lynn Goldmeyer, you never see any of these countries sending money to the USA. It's beyond. Yeah! We're always sending it out. Makes me sick. We're like slaves. Tanya Nguyen, happy birthday, Mary. And Jenny E., thank you very much. Prayers to you and your loved ones. Take your holy wife to dinner as thank you for sharing with us. We went to dinner last night. I think I posted it. We went to a Christmas concert here in Boca. It was awesome. It got a little chilly out there, but it was a lot of fun. Then we went to dinner afterwards. So that's why as soon as I got done with yesterday's show, I was like, hey, we got to run. We got to go do this. And so moving forward, tomorrow, like I mentioned, I got the GoPro. I'm going to hang it in the car, and I plan on doing something different in the mornings. I'm going to practice tomorrow, maybe ready for the first thing on Tuesday. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to try and move the afternoon show to 2, and then back to 7:30 for the evening show for this week. And then after this week, and we get closer to the holidays, it's probably just going to be, just one show a day, unless you guys tell me you're bored and you're tired of eating and watching football and stuff. So, whatever you guys want. If there's news, if there's no news, I don't want to be one of those guys who forces stuff just to put out a show, because it doesn't make any sense if there's nothing out there. But then again, my drive around videos aren't going to be like that. So anyway, we've been here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. And Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. By the way, it was funny. At our concert last night, we're in Boca. There's a huge diaspora of Jewish people here. And I just love that they played, the Christian songs, and then they played Hanukkah songs as well. So it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you tomorrow.